Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Nicole Dennis here from theparentpreneur.com. And today I'm really thrilled to have the beautiful and amazing Janene Babauskas here with me. So I'm very grateful that Janene came into my life in 2015. I was introduced to her through a mutual friend, and we actually became business partners, and we've been able to do many amazing things together, travel around the world, do lots of things together in our home country of Australia. And Janene has really changed her life from a place where she wasn't in a very good place. And when I met you, I had no idea about that, Janene, because you definitely put out positive vibes and, you know, are an amazing host. You hosted me the very first time I met you when I came down to meet with you in Melbourne and sort of go through the opportunity to go into business together. But you shared with me later that you were actually in a not a great place in your life at that point, and you actually described your financial situation to me later as a fast train heading for a cliff. And you know, you become a bit sad, and you have 3 beautiful daughters. So can you just share with us a bit about, you know, kind of like the space and the struggle that you were in, you know, probably 2014, 2015, you know, in the lead up to us being connected?
Yeah, sure. I left a very successful career in another company. There were things there that weren't resonating with my values. And in that business model, I walked away and left the income there. So your income gets passed to somebody else. It's not a business where, you know, when you leave, you've still got residual income coming in. So overnight, I went to 0 income. And I knew that was the case, but I thought, you know what, I'll just generate myself somewhere else. I'll start creating another income. And, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do, but somehow I'll make it work. That seemed more attractive than staying on a good income and dealing with, you know, the things I had to deal with. Now, because I was very successful, the bank loaned me a lot of money. So I completely renovated my house. I bought an apartment. I, you know, did all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. And so I was servicing a lot of debt, a big debt. Mm-hmm. And so what happened was I started another business, and the income was not anywhere near the kind of income I needed. So essentially I was going backwards $1,000 a week. So that's $50,000 a year. So at the time that we met, it was getting close to the bank wanting to foreclose on my house. And it was very stressful because I loved my home. And for me, it was like, you know, hanging on with fingernails to make it work. Mm-hmm. And basically I was losing the battle. And it was, you know, I was sad. I was, and the other thing was I had some health challenges that had emerged. Well, that emerged.
The stress would have been definitely exacerbating those too, right?
Well, that's right. It was compounding now. So instead of me feeling rested and recovering from my other 10-year journey, the compounding of the stress of the finances was making it worse. So, yeah, I wasn't sleeping. You know, I kind of lost my way. I felt like my purpose was lacking. And it was all just to be hanging on to this house because I'm like, you know, I want that to be a choice in my life, and I was losing the battle with choices. Yeah. And I was miserable on the inside. On the outside, you know, everything looked cool, but at home alone, I would sit in a chair for hours just staring at a wall. I was so miserable.
Yeah, and so, yeah, sometimes when you're in that state of like overwhelm and you're financially stressed and that's having impact on your health, it's really hard to like see clearly and to make choices, right? Like you get so caught up in like your attachment to a thing or something, you know, a house or a certain way that you're being, that you like can't realize that that's part of the problem as well.
Well, exactly, and 100%, Nicole. And the thing was, what I needed to be doing was mindset work, and and I had all the tools for that. I've been a facilitator of that work. I've been highly trained in that work, and I wasn't doing what was required to pull myself forward. I just felt like, I was on that fast train heading for the cliff.
Yeah, totally. So if you can relate to this, Janene's story, let us know in a comment. I know that, that Justin and I have been in that kind of situation, and financial stress is a massive thing, so we've been in that situation as well, and it takes its toll on every area of your life when you're under that kind of stress. So you kind of like were working, doing cooking classes, which were hard, physically hard, but not really going to not going to give you a path out of your financial situation, really.
No, because, very quickly I realized there was not enough hours in the day for me to generate the kind of income I needed. And I didn't have any leverage at the cooking school. So I was earning income, and it was good income while I was presenting to a class. But if I wasn't presenting, I wasn't earning any money. So I had zero leverage going on. And like I said, there were not enough hours in a day or a week for me to generate the income I needed. So that was the other stress too, because it's like, well, this is not the answer,
Yeah, absolutely. And so then, we met, and you decided to take on a new business opportunity in, the health and wellness space, which is something that you are really passionate about. And how, like, that kind of gave you like a lot of breathing space, even in the early stages. So talk about like what that did for you, being able to create something else around like your commitments at the cooking school, and the space that opens up in your life, I guess, from the stress relief.
Yeah, well, basically then, I had this side gig, which didn't feel like I was building another business, because I loved sharing about this technology and what it provides for people. So that for me, as much as I love the cooking and teaching people around food, this technology really excited me. It was a breakthrough. And first of all, I had a breakthrough with my own well-being. So I was just out there sharing it. To me, that wasn't work. But as a result of sharing it, I was also getting paid. And it was fun. It was so much fun, and because it was very social. I was just hanging out with friends and colleagues and their friends and colleagues, and just sharing what this discovery was. And it was a discovery for me, because like having a background as a health practitioner, I'd never heard about the healing molecules. So I was just loving it. So first of all, it's kind of like my purpose came back. And with that was my mojo, because my body was healing, and I felt like I did 10 years before. And not only did I feel like that, I was looking like that as well. Because
we all like that.
Exactly, because, I'd never looked my age, and turning 60 was back then, 6 years ago, that was the first time I'd looked my age. And I'm like, that's a very bad sign. If I'm starting to look rusty on the outside, I know the inside is matching that. And I felt, I just didn't feel right. I felt unwell and sluggish. And I wasn't, no matter what I took, no matter what supplements I took, no matter how much acupuncture or whatever, I just wasn't getting on top of it. I felt like I was on a slippery slope going backwards. Yeah. So totally. Here I am, found a technology that was created the healing for me, and that excitement of sharing it with others.
Yeah. And you got to $1,000 a week in a pretty relatively short time frame. And that really was able to take a lot of pressure off you.
Well, exactly. I started using the molecules in late January. I was pretty quiet about it for 6 weeks, but then friends were saying to me, okay, what are you doing? What are you on? You look different. You feel different. And I'm like, well, I'm glad you asked, because I've discovered something. So, that would have pushed it out to early March, that where, people was wanting to have a piece of the healing molecules, a piece of the action. And by May, my income was $1,000 a week. So, of course, to me, that turned the train around that was heading for the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, okay, I've got choices now. I've got a future where, I can choose where it's going. And it all went from there. So, of course, I felt amazing because the financial stress was gone. And, I was still in a neutral position, but that's so much better than going backwards. And then from there on, you could just keep building it and making it better.
Yeah. And so like a big part of what I love about what we do is the community as well. So not only did you get, like the financial income, but you got to be part of a community. And how has that helped you, because you weren't in like the best place that you've been in your life, like with your mindset. How was that support part of transforming your life as well? Because traditional entrepreneurship can be pretty lonely, right? Like, because you're kind of like by yourself, and that can be hard too.
Well, exactly. Well, community is really important to me. I've always built communities and, been part of leadership or mentorship, but also what was even and just as important to me, that I had mentors above me that could that I could work with and that could assist me, because in my previous 10 years, the mentorship was really lacking. And, there's a struggle there, so there were yourself and others who were leading the way. So I had fabulous mentors, which just a joy for me. And then, what I was learning, I was able to pass that down the line to a beautiful community of people. And most of these people I can see will be in my life forever. It's like a family. It's my second family. And I've traveled with them. I've laughed with them. I've worked with them, and, I call it work. But to me, it's just the joy of having like-minded people in my life that I work with. Like that's like, how many people get to experience that at work? Not many.
Yeah. No, that's true. Definitely. You don't get to experience that so much in the corporate world. No. So you also, it took you a few years to really, I guess, maybe I don't know what the right word is, but maybe rebalance, like from talking to you, and you were then able to make the decision to let go of your house, and to, along with that, like all of your debt, and make a transformation and a change to move to the country. And that was a bit, and so I know that you're in the process of doing that now, but it took you a while to like really recreate the dream for what you wanted your life ultimately to look like. So do you want to share a little bit about that? Because that was, we've spoken a lot about that together, and it took you a while to transform that, but now you have a different level of freedom that I've observed in you, definitely, because you're completely debt free, and you're going to have this beautiful home in the country, and then you still have this, amazing income and business that you've created as well.
Well, exactly. And, that did take quite a process to go through, to be emotionally detached from the home. It's so interesting, how hard I hung on to that, even though I had, coaching from my daughters, coaching from you about, you could create any life you want, because here's the thing, with this model, I can work anywhere as long as I've got, a laptop and a phone. I could be anywhere in the world, anywhere in Australia, anywhere in Victoria, working my business and building new communities. And it all sounded really exciting, but there was a process to go through to be able to, grasp that and just let go of this need of having to hang on to my home. So yes, not last year, the year before, I sold my home and paid off all my debt. It's a beautiful feeling. And and then now I'm building a house in Trentham. And, that was something I put on a vision board a couple of years ago. And, and I've always sort of had the Trentham dream. But I also looked around at many other options. And, last year I secured a beautiful piece of land in Trentham, and the building has started. And that's just so exciting for me to have, that choice. And I'll still come back to Melbourne quite regularly, and, there'll be a bedroom waiting for me, or I can Airbnb. It doesn't matter. I've got those choices now, and it's super, super exciting.
Yeah. So, yeah, you've got your countryside dream and you're going to own that house. It'll be so amazing, for you to realize that. And I think, when you look back at your journey, it was that decision, in 2015 to get the train to not go over the cliff, because then, you wouldn't have this house that you own now, to turn that around to, get out of a pretty scary situation. And then to, be able to take some time to process that and really get clear on what you want, and, let go of your home where you raised your daughters, and then, actually realize your dream of living in the country. So it's been a beautiful thing. And I think the message is to everyone that dreams can take time, but it's just take the action to start to work towards them and get yourself, for a lot of us, I think, when you're in a huge amount of stress and you're living, you're struggling to pay your daily expenses and to live on a daily basis, getting yourself out of that first is sometimes the first step that people need to take, so they can sit back and realize what it is that they really want.
Well, exactly. And, the beautiful thing about this business along the way, we've traveled together. I've done a lot of international travel, and that was all made possible because of this business. So it's not like I was, at home just struggling to make ends meet. I was out having a ball, and I knew that thing is, when you're in this kind of business model, the harder you want to work, and I don't know if hard's the right word, because if you love what you do, it's not hard work. Then the rewards just keep building and building. And, and yes, there are those financial rewards, but there's all those rewards of the community, which just so enriches my life. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it just doesn't get any better. And look, just to say, I've been in traditional business. I've probably owned 4 or 5 traditional businesses in my lifetime. I bought my first business at 18, and I would never want to go back into traditional business. The everything that comes with that, the overheads, the struggles, the worries. And at the end of a year, you've had this massive turnover, and how much profit was in there was just crippling. Sometimes. And you're like, look, I'm doing what I'm passionate about, but it definitely wasn't something that, gave me a lot of financial leverage.
Yeah.
And what I love about what I'm doing now, even on the weekend, I take weekends off.
Me too.
We have that choice, but, I'm sort of getting paid while I'm sleeping, while I'm relaxing with friends and family. And that's the power of the leverage. And I can run this anywhere. And right now I'm kind of bunking in with my daughter, and I'm still running a nice lucrative business from a bunk in. Yeah,
I know, it's amazing, because I've also run other businesses and done other things, and it's demanding. You have to be there all the time, like a really successful consulting business, but it was all reliant on me and my time and me showing up and me being there for clients, and there wasn't a lot of freedom, and there was no leverage in it. And I've just had 8 weeks off over the summer school holidays, so that's pretty amazing. I've done very little work. I had a couple of weeks where I did maybe an hour or 2 a day on some things, but the rest of the time I had off, went to the beach, went away, did stuff. So I don't know anything else that can, and I still got paid every week, and I don't know anything else where you can do that. And my plan is to do that every summer, is to have those summer holidays off.
Really important when you've got family, children that, still require a lot of parenting. And, that I didn't have that when my girls were little. I was in traditional businesses, and it certainly takes a toll on you as a parent and a toll on the children as well. So, it doesn't get any better when it comes to, women who are either, carers, could be carer for a parent, or you've still got, children that require you at home. The flexibility is really key. It's the flexibility that I love.
Yeah. Well, yeah, me too. I love it. So what would be your advice to people? Because a lot of people, I think the global pandemic and all of these things, they have caused like a lot of people to really reevaluate what's important to them, or maybe like the industry that they're in has been affected. But a lot of people, I think, are reassessing like what is really important to them at the core. But sometimes they're not open to looking at something new or looking at a different way of doing things. What would you say to people that are like, not sure, and or in a transition, or maybe there's a lot of people out there feeling like you did like 5 years ago as well?
Yeah, look, I think I think most people have had a dream at some point of being in their own business. That's pretty scary, and you've got to expose yourself financially to do that, and in many other ways as well. And I think just reach out and have a conversation with us. This style of business is not dependent on age or your education. Like, to me, it's the best equal opportunity that is on the planet right now. And look, I say to people, if you're willing to carve out some time and be coachable, we have an amazing system to follow. And so it's fail proof, if you like. If you just follow the system and take the coaching, you can create a home-based business. And you could have it as a side gig. You could, transition into something a bit more full-time. The thing is, the choice is yours. The flexibility is there. Talk, reach out and have a conversation. And there's nothing to fear. Like, your exposure is pretty well zero, like it's $60. Crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Who could start a business for $60? You can't. I just think, and look, I'm just reading the book Ikigai right now, and, that's how to have a happy, long life. And, there's a lot in this book, but one of the things they say is you always want a second income. You never want to have all your eggs in one basket. You don't want to be dependent on an income coming in from one source, because we never know when that's going to be taken away from us. So they say, what are you passionate about? Have that as a side gig and generate, some income there. And at some point you may want to or have to transition over into that. And I thought, that's just such good advice. And doing something you love. Now, the interesting thing, and this was hard for me to grasp, is that the stats out there is 80% of people hate their jobs. They don't love what they do. And like, for me, really, because I've always done what I've loved to do. I've gone into businesses, started businesses in areas that, really I was passionate about to provide a service in that area. But of course, with that came all the stresses and strains. And I just say, talk to us, talk to me, and find out more about it, because then you know what you're saying no to. And the thing is, get your questions answered. If you've got concerns, and there are real concerns out there, there are people who have given this industry a bad name in the past. So, that's, you don't have to be worried about that. You just need to, get your questions and concerns answered. And really, that's what I did when I came into this, right? I had lots of questions, because I thought, God, at 60, I don't want to make any mistakes, like those kind of mistakes where you invest a lot of time and energy into an industry or a company and it's wrong, you've got your ladder against the wrong wall. And I did my due diligence. I can tell you that this opportunity ticks all the boxes.
Yeah.
100%.
And I know, integrity is something really important to you, Janene. Like, it's a really core value of yours and me too. Like, I, have to be operating within integrity, doing something that is a contribution to the world and others. Like, I've always done that. in my career. Even when I worked in corporate, it was on things that would, actually contribute to the community. So that's really important to me, and to be working with individuals of like mind as well.
Well, exactly. And that starts from the top. And that was critical for me, that, at the top, the integrity was there, the ethos, was beautiful, and there was a heart and soul attached to this. And they're all there.
Yeah.
They're all there. Yeah, it doesn't get any better.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today, Janene. If you've got any questions for Janene, reach out to her. You can connect with her on Facebook. I've tagged her in this video. So, it was great to have you here and chat with you.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on. It's a delight hanging out with you, Nicole Dennis. You're an amazing woman. And, everything I've learned from you in the last 5-6 years. And I'm looking forward to the next 6 years with you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Janene. Mwah.
Bye.